what I've noticed is that I was thinking about this as I've met a lot of people over the last 23 years, a lot of folks of all races, male and female, and I've noticed everybody have the same story, and I've noticed that no one has ever been able to fix themselves, to change the way that they are. Have you noticed that? I don't care if they read the Bible, lift up holy hands, run around town, meditate, whatever you're doing. I don't know. Well, I know a few people who have changed. I do know some, but have you noticed that, including yourself, and only you know about you, I'm not accusing you, but if you know, have you noticed that you have not changed? It's all the same. Everybody pretty much have the same problem.
Right.
In that they want God, they want to change, but they don't change. They go to church to change, they read the Bible to change, they go to see psychiatrists and psychologists to change, but most people are not changing. Some are, but most are not. Getting rid of that spirit that's made a home inside of them, this thing that makes them unhappy. I understand what God means when he said only a few will change. I have met one or two. I was talking to a lady this week, well last week now, who was referred to me for counseling. And she was in her late 60s. Very unhappy lady, and in the very beginning of the phone call, when I asked, how may I help you? She said, I want to die. I want to leave this planet. I don't want to be here anymore. I just want to die. And I asked her, why do you want to leave the planet? She said, because I want peace in my life. I'm in my late 60s and I don't have peace, and I want peace. And I just believe if I could go to another planet somewhere, just leave here, I can have that peace. And I said to her that I wouldn't take that risk, I wouldn't want to die with all that inside of me thinking that I'm going to go somewhere else and I'm going to be able to find peace, because you may end up in a location where there is not an opportunity to overcome, to repent, and you can have eternal hell, for the rest of your life. And she's like, no, I can't handle this. She started crying. I can't handle this anymore. I just don't want to be around. And I asked if she have children, and she said yes. And I said, well, your kids wouldn't want you to, die. I know, but, I can't handle it. And she said that they told me you can help me, so I gave it a chance, and I called you. And so I asked her, what was she angry about? And I believe she said she didn't really know why she didn't have this peace, right? And I said that, well, do you really, we had a long conversation for an hour. And I finally asked her, I said, do you really, really, really want peace? You want to be happy? You want to overcome this thing? And she said yes. And by the way, she had gone to other preachers, psychiatrists and psychologists and people like that, and spent a lot of money trying to find peace. So I asked her, I said, look, do you really want peace? Because I'm going to tell you how to get it. And so if I give you this advice, will you take it? And she's like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. And I said to her, well, the first thing you got to do is stop hating your mother. And she's like, no. I said, because you become just like your mother, right? She's like, no, I'm not like my mother. At first she said she didn't hate her mother. And she's like, no, I don't hate my mother. And then I said, you do, because you're just like her. And I don't know this woman. I've never seen her. I don't know her mother. She's like, no, I'm not like my mother. And she just boo-hooed. I hate my mother. I try hard not to be like her. I did everything, different from what she did. I said, but you got to realize you still became like her. And when I said that, she just really broke down. Because the last thing she wanted to be was to be like her mother. And then so I explained to her, you need to forgive your mother. Your mother couldn't help herself. And I said, the problem is you're never going to find peace, because that anger you have toward your mother or anybody, toward yourself or anyone, is keeping you away from God. That's what you're separated from God. And I said, and so unless you forgive your mother, you're never going to be free. So she just ran down a list of things that her mother did to her, how her mother used to embarrass her father in front of them when they were small. She would go off on her father, just really demean him, make him look bad or something. And she realized that she just did. She said her sister, she had a second sister. Her sister, or had one sister, gave in to the mother, but she rebelled against the mother because she knew, she didn't like the mother. And then I said, well, you got to forgive her. You're never going to be free. So that you can learn to be with God. You can be with him if you forgive him. And then she said something about the things she did in the community. And she's like, I'm a good person because I do this in the community. I do different things. I help out. I'm a really good person. And I said, no, you're not. You're not a good person. You're no good. You're evil. She said, well, at least my friends think I'm good. The people think I'm good. I said, yeah, they think so, but in reality, you're not. Because you cannot be an angry person and be a good person. It's not logical. It doesn't go together. Do we have any good peoples here? Nobody will raise their hand now. One good man. But I said, that doesn't make sense. How are you going to be a good person and be an angry person? But she was basing it on the things that she did for others. And the fact that they thought that she was good. They saw her as good. I said, no, you're no good. And she was like, wow, I've never heard that before. So my only problem is I need to stop being angry. I need to stop resenting. And I said, yeah. I said, there is no reason at all in life to be angry. There's not one thing that can happen to you in life, and you have the right to be angry about it. She's like, really? And she said, well, so I can't hate the rapist? I was raped. I can't be mad at the rapist. And then she started boohooing again. And I said, no, you can't be mad at the rapist either. You have no right to judge the rapist. And see, in America today, we've been taught, at least women have been taught, that you can hate the rapist. Have you been taught that? One say yes and one say no. That's because you don't know. Right? They have to. Oprah and all the women teach, hate the rapist. I understand, but don't like, And so a lot of women believe that they have a right to hate the rapist, not realizing that they're hurting themselves. You know what I'm saying? Keeping them away from God, keeping them away from ever finding peace because they're judging the rapist. And that's why they can't know God. And she's like, wow, so I can't hate the rapist? I said, I can't hate anyone. And she said, and I explained to her why she can't hate the rapist. I explained to her that, just think about this. Your body has healed from being raped, Your body has healed, but your spirit has not. And the pain that you're having is coming from you, from the real you, from your spirit that's separated from your Creator. You don't have any more pain from the rapist, but you have the pain for hating the rapist. And she really, really saw it. And it made sense to her. And that's the first time she ever, anyone ever explained that to her. And because she was suffering so much, she got it just like that. She didn't have to meditate and all that kind of stuff. But she got it just like that because she had suffered so much. And she wanted help. And I run into that from time to time. And I think, wow, it's interesting how you can point the truth out to some people and they get it right away. And others, it takes forever. And I just assume that it's because, I'm not assuming, but I think it's because some people haven't suffered enough, or you're not fed up with suffering, or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but we have some stubborn folks that you can tell them the truth over and over again, and they will go through years of hearing that truth but never changing, never letting go of that anger. Isn't that amazing? They're really, really stubborn with that. And then I I met a father and son that was referred to me. And the son was like 32 years old, by the way. And so we're in counseling, and we're having this discussion, and the son mad at the father, and blah, 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 right? And I realized in that discussion that the father had become his mother all the way. And the father in his 50s or 60s or whatever. But the father was total, he was the epitome of his mother. The way that he dealt with his son, the way that the father explained to me that he had another brother, and the brother identified with his father, and he identified with the mother, right? And he had taken on everything about his mother. You know, she's dead. He was just like her, acting like her. And he wasn't a gay guy or anything like that, but he had the identity of his mother. And he did not want to face it, didn't realize it. And I just pointed out to him, I said, your problem is you're in denial about who you really are. And who you are is not you. You are the epitome of your mother. You are a woman. You are a woman. He was shocked. But for the first time, by the end of the counseling session, he sounded as though he was going to look at it. And what's interesting about it, he did the same thing to his two sons that his mother did to he and his brother. The same identical separation with the same words and everything. He even said in the meeting about this son that was there, this is my best son, or something like that, and indicating that the other son was his worst son. And then later on in the conversation, he called this son, that's my baby. A 32-year-old man, right? I said, your baby? I said, a man don't say that this is my baby. You ever heard a man say of his 32-year-old son, this is my baby? I said, you're doing this because your words, your everything is your mother. It's not you. It's your mother. And this son was like, he just started smiling because he has been so frustrated in the way that his father been dealing with him to a point he didn't even want to be around him. And it just helped me to realize that we are possessed. And that's what sin is. We come into a family that's messed up, and we lose our identity, and we take on someone else. We take on our parents' identity. And because it happened at such an early age, we really don't know that that's what it is, that we have taken on another person's spirit. Whatever spirit that was in them is now in us. Because we forget when we lose ourselves, and we become just like our parents, acting out the same thing. No wonder God let us just die out and have some more babies, hoping that somebody would get it right. Because this spirit is just repeating itself from generation to generation to generation. And that's why you can't fix yourself. You can't change yourself. No psychologist or psychiatrist can change you. Reading a book will not change you. Reading the Bible will not change you. There's nothing wrong with reading the Bible. I recommend reading it. But don't read it thinking that it's going to change you. It will not change you. Spending your money on psychiatrists and psychologists and all these crazy folks, stop spending your money. They can't help you. They're only telling you ego stuff. They're not telling you, they're not revealing revelation to you that will help you to see things. You can't change yourself, so stop being mad about it. Stop trying to change yourself. You cannot do it. You really can't change yourself. You have to see it for what it is and don't hate what you see. See that you're no good, wicked, evil person. And you put on a nice demeanor, but that's not who you are. Stop covering it up. Then you would change. But the more you fight against this thing, the worse you're going to get. You're not going to get better. If you want to change sooner rather than later, you got to come out of denial and stop fighting against yourself. That makes sense? You really got to stop fighting. You can't change yourself. There's nowhere in the scriptures where it says, of yourself, you can change yourself. It's not in the scriptures. But yet, we can spend a lifetime trying to change ourselves. To a point that you can learn about the truth and go out and put on a phony attitude as though you know the truth. Correcting other people, quoting scriptures, repeating what the preacher said. Just being a total hypocrite. It's time to change.